The sun comes up on America. Across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Daybreak. Glad to see you as we kick off a brand new week on our way to the 4th of July. What a week it's going to be of celebrating America. The naysayers, no place here. We love this country. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, the new song, One Nation, Ivy and I released along with Laura Kokenauer and the Freedom Project, is moving well on the charts, but we need your help to keep it soaring into the 4th of July and beyond. We'll tell you about that. Number two, the U.S. hit Iran hard again on Sunday after Iranian attacks on Kuwait and Bahrain, and now President Trump says we may just have to finish the job after all. Not good news for Iran. We'll see how that plays out. And number three, the Democrat Party you once knew, the one that at least pretended to stand for working families, patriotism, and a functioning America, is being murdered from within. It's being overrun by DSA-style radicals, socialists, and outright communists who view our country not as a beacon of freedom, but as a problem to be decolonized, dismantled, and rebuilt in their image, an image of communism. This isn't hyperbole, folks. It's happening in real time in primaries, in rhetoric, and in the streets. And there's potential for both silver linings and grave dangers ahead. The old guard is in full panic mode. James Carville, the swamp creature who's spent decades dragging the party leftward, now admits there's a schism. Listen to this.
She has attacked interracial relationships in the American flag. Lady, I ain't in the same party as you. I'm sorry. I just not. And I actually do think it's time for Democrats to talk the S word, schism. I really do. Everybody's always said, no, we're coalition, we're big tent. And there's just some shit that I can't be in the same tent with.
Yeah, can't be in the same tent with that. How could he possibly be? He's done sharing a tent with those who deny Israel's right to exist, push full socialism, or embrace the Jew hatred and anti-America rot that continues to fester. Then you have those with no spine, those like Democrat Senator Cory Booker, who still clings to the big tent delusion, claiming it's what makes Democrats great. Here he is.
Given that, what did you make of your fellow Democratic Senator John Fetterman today when he was asked about these New York primaries? He said the dirtbag left is surging, I believe is how he described it.
Again, for me, if you want to heal a country, you can't be picking fights. I think we need to understand that our party is not homogenous. One of the things that makes the Democratic Party great is it's a big tent party. We need to stay that way. The focus has got to be the November election.
Yeah, but that tent now shelters candidates vowing to close detention centers for criminal illegals. It shelters those you're chanting, "You're next," at Hakeem Jeffries after socialist victories in New York. They want their own. The hive Democrats built universities churning out grievance warriors, NGOs as patronage mills, media as shield. It's turned on its own. Chuck Schumer and Jeffries look like substitute teachers in a prison riot. The radicals aren't asking for a seat at the table anymore. They want the whole damn table so they can turn it over. How did we get here? Well, decades of indulgence. Democrats fed the beast, defund the police, open borders as moral imperative, capitalism as theft, America's founding as original sin. They built a patronage machine of activist salaries, taxpayer-funded equity schemes, and cultural institutions that rewarded rage over results. Polls confirm socialism is surging among Democrats, even as it's toxic to the broader electorate. Listen to this.
But look at all voters. A completely different world. 27 points underwater Democratic Socialists of America are in the net favorable rating. So what are we talking about? A 44-point difference here in the wrong direction when we come to Democratic Socialists of America, jumping from being pretty popular among Democrats to being not popular at all among all voters.
What about just the word socialist or socialism? How's that doing?
Yeah, okay. So, one of the trends that we have seen is among Democrats, socialism has become more popular over the last decade and a half. But what about the rest of the electorate? And this, I think, gives the game away right here. Okay, positive view of socialism. Among Democrats, look at this. Up considerably from where we were in 2010, 50% to now 66% now. That's a jump of 16 points in a decade and a half. But look at all others. The number is the same. It was 29% back in 2010. It's 30% now. Socialism has become increasingly popular among Democrats, but it is a much tougher sell in the rest of the electorate.
Yeah. Low turnout primaries in deep blue enclaves let the extremists win. And those extremist politicians like AOC want to make this the new blueprint for everything. Here she is.
Already panicking and sending little messages in your group chats about how these people need to be reined in and tamped down and shown their place. You are creating the antagonistic dynamic that we do not need. These are two young, talented, intelligent women that got elected against all odds, against millions of dollars. Perhaps there is something we can learn from them.
Yeah, she's not trying to tamp down the most extreme of her party, the revolutionaries. That is exactly what her game plan has been since she first won her New York district. Some are arguing there's a silver lining for conservatives. The mask is off and normal Democrats are frightened. They've noticed. Working class voters, Jewish Americans, horrified by the anti-Israel obsession, the anti-Jew obsession, moderates who remember when the party wasn't a socialist cosplay. Their votes are up for grabs. Said.
Like, if this is where the Democratic Party is going, where this democratic socialist, this obsession with Israel, with the Jew hating, with they don't believe in capitalism, no prisons, if this is where they're going, my vote is in play.
Okay.
And
I like to hear that.
It actually always has been. Every year, I don't make my decision by who was an R or a D. I actually always came to the conclusion that the Democrat was probably better.
Sure.
And voted for them.
Okay.
And Trump can't run again, and he'd be a little too exciting for me anyway. So it's either going to be you or Rubio.
Yeah. Bill Maher's vote is in play. And if Bill Maher's vote is in play, other normal mainstream Democrats are in the same place. MAGA offers the alternative: secure borders, safe cities, economic freedom, and the love of country. We can serve what works, the America of opportunity, not envy. This fracture weakens the radical machine and opens doors for realignment. For realignment, independents and disaffected Democrats see the squalor in blue cities and states. They remember when progress didn't mean tent cities and shoplifting mobs. Let that sink in for a moment. Good Monday morning to you. Yeah, the Democrat Party eating its own from inside. More on this when we come back. This is Daybreak. Welcome back. The Democrats are eating themselves from within, but do not celebrate too soon. The dangers are profound. We're on a dangerous slope toward full. President Trump nailed it when he clowned on the Democrats for embracing communists. Here's what he said.
And as you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. I'd give free rent. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, you don't have to pay any rent. From now on, anybody wants a house, don't worry about it. Just pick the house you want. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. It always does. So easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor.
Yeah, that's not just rhetoric. It's a history lesson. Venezuela, the Soviet Union, China, millions died. Every experiment in centralized control. These radicals reject the founding. Borders are immoral. Police are the enemy. Heritage is oppression. And the American people need replacing. They want to transform it into something unrecognizable. And the evidence is piling up. Candidates like Daria Avia, Chevalier aren't even denying the communist label anymore, just hedging it with incoherent word sounds while pushing policies that erode liberty. Here's an example.
Delegation, and you're going to appear in all sorts of people's ads, all sorts of Republicans' ads to say, this is what you're going to get if you vote for the Democrats, a communist.
You know, I think that framing is one that I've been very proud to be able to say I don't respond to, one in which I have been very intentional to say I won't be reactive. We are presenting a vision of what we're fighting for, and I think for far too long we have had politics that is reactive to what Republicans are doing. What we need is Democrats who are actually going to present a positive vision, one that sets the tone for what we should be talking about, which is the issue of affordability.
The Democratic Socialists aren't content with incremental gains. They're not focused on affordability. They demand no prisons, wealth seizure, open borders, and cultural destruction. Traditional Democrats built this machine thinking they could control it. Now the radicals hold the keys, and they are revolutionaries, and the establishment is expendable. Make no mistake, Hakeem Jeffries gets warned he's next. The Big Tent has become a circus tent for every failed ideology. Socialism repackaged as compassion, communism as justice. This isn't sustainable. Socialism sells envy and free stuff until the money runs out and the shelves empty. It promises utopia, but delivers lines for toilet paper and gulags for dissenters. America was built on the very opposite: individual liberty, free enterprise, secure sovereignty. When radicals overrun one party and normalize anti-Americanism, the entire republic is at risk. Make no mistake. Congressman Brandon Gill of Texas is warning loudly against it. Here he is.
Republicans, first of all, they love this country. They love its people. They love its culture and its heritage and want to see that preserved. I mean, we're conservatives. We want to conserve the America that we grew up in. And liberals, I think, fundamentally disagree with the founding principles. They fundamentally, I think on a core level, don't like the American people. They want to replace the American people oftentimes with foreigners. And that carries through. You know, if you don't love this country, how can you possibly be entrusted to govern this country for its own good?
Well, and the answer is you cannot. We know how this plays out. Crime surges in sanctuary cities, borders dissolve. Institutions like education, justice, even the military get politicized and weakened. Normal Americans pay the price in higher taxes, lower safety, and lost opportunity. The slope is real. Tolerate these radicals today, and tomorrow's Democrat platform is indistinguishable from the DSA manifestos. Our children inherit decline, not manifest destiny. This moment demands clarity. I love this country. I love it. Its people, its culture, its heritage. I love it. We want to preserve the America that lifted generations out of poverty through hard work, not redistribution. We reject the fundamental disagreement at the radical core that America is irredeemable and its people need replacing or re-education. Republicans must hammer this contrast, secure the border, restore law and order, unleash energy and enterprise, protect free speech instead of coddling speech codes, and yes, welcome those normal Democrats fleeing the wreckage, because patriotism isn't a partisan monopoly. The traditional Democrat Party is dying. The radicals are killing it, and in the process, they threaten to drag the rest of the nation down with them. The silver linings exist. Their extremism awakens the sleeping giant of normal America. Votes are shifting. The Overton window is moving toward sanity. MAGA isn't here to gloat over a dying party. We're here to save the country from the ideology that's killing it. The radicals offer envy and control. We offer freedom and flourishing. Choose wisely, America. The stakes are nothing less than our republic. And that's the monologue. Do you really want another summer like last summer, unable to sleep? Well, you don't, trust me. It gets hot at night. You get stuck to the sheets. You can't, sleep right. You flop all over. How about Ghost Bed? It's what I used last night. I love the Ghost Bed. If you're already sleeping hot, summer only makes it worse. You know that, of course. And that's exactly why I switched to Ghost Bed, in part. Helps keep you cool at night. No waking up sweaty, tossing and turning, or throwing the covers off at 2 a.m. Cooling tech is built into every mattress. It's not some expensive upgrade you have to pay for. Hot sleepers, we welcome you. You, the flip and flop, we support you too. I slept great again last night. You can as well. This bed is the best I've ever had. Ghost Bed gives you 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like it, they'll pick it up, but I think you're going to like it. Go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. The promo code is Gruber. You're going to save more money now than ever. 10% off the best price of the year. Financing available too. Ghostbed.com/Gruber. Promo code Gruber. Trust me on this. All right, welcome back to it. Well, the ceasefire is apparently still in place, but it's not being adhered to particularly well. Iran launched airstrikes against Kuwait and Bahrain on Sunday. We retaliated against their missile launching facilities. Limited strikes, not a full-blown war again. But Donald Trump is warning the United States might resume its military offensives. U.S. Central Command already carried out 10 retaliatory strikes over the weekend. And several of these Gulf neighbors, like Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, all the rest, they're not impressed with Iran right now. They say they will stand united against any possible aggression from Tehran in the future. This escalation poses the greatest threat yet to the memorandum of understanding signed last week by President Donald Trump and the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. Iran struck a cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The General Secretary of the Gulf Cooperation Council called Iran's attacks on Bahrain treacherous, adding that it will undermine ongoing peace efforts in the Middle East, which is what they want. They don't want peace. They want instability. They want a mess. That's what they want. And they want to knock Donald Trump out of control in Washington. Well, at this point, We'll see what happens, but right now we'll keep an eye on it. Officials in Kuwait and the UAE also came out with statements on Saturday and Sunday condemning Iran, their Arab neighbors, not impressed with them continuing to attack their friends in the neighborhood. Listen to this, NeuroGuard Plus. It's a mouth guard, and it stops concussions before they ever happen. Dr. Michael Hutchinson has patented a breakthrough mouth guard for athletes in every sport. It's a game changer. Athletes using NeuroGuard Plus suffer concussions just 0.26% of the time. 0.26, it's almost unheard of, my friends. It gets better. The mouth guard can boost your strength and speed up to 16%. Lift more weight, run faster, jump higher. And don't just take my word for it. This was tested at Michigan State University and Wayne State University. They certified these results. Protect your brain and upgrade your performance. Go to NeuroGuardPlus.com. It's almost football season. Save 10% with the promo code Gruber right now. That's NeuroGuardPlus.com. Keep your head in the game. This is patented science to prevent people in any sport, volleyball, girls basketball, football, soccer, keeps you from getting a concussion. NeuroGuardPlus.com, promo code Gruber. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it. Glad to have you here for Daybreak as we begin the week as we head toward the 4th of July, our 250th year as a country, the longest functioning government in world history. John Tillman is the CEO of the American Culture Project, founder and CEO of the Hall of Giants, author of a brand new book, Political Vice: How the Radical Left Controls America and the Path to Regaining Our Liberty. Sir, good to have you here. John, good morning.
He's frozen. Hold on, Steve.
All right, 1 second there. We'll get to him in just 1 second. We apologize for a little bit of a hang-up there, just a little technical glitch. We'll get to him in just a second. Anthony, just tell me what we need to do.
Hold for 1 moment.
All right. Let's talk about the reflecting pool as we get John lined up there. The reflecting pool, 7 arrests so far. 7 arrests so far. Who honestly would take it upon themselves to destroy America's monuments? You have to ask yourself, who would do that, and why? How could you hate America so much that if you had a beautiful monument, a reflecting pool, a statue, whatever it might be, that it would be destroyed? Now we're ready with John. John, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Great to be with you. And, I think the reflecting pool is a time for reflection, ironically, about the state of the country and our love of country. It's really disturbing when people want to attack not just the idea of America, but the physical manifestations of our greatness as a nation.
I did my monologue this morning about these radical socialists, these leftists, that get up there and preach a hatred for America and get elected in New York City. But now these folks are targeting Michigan, Wisconsin, Colorado. They smell blood in the water, and it's bizarre to me. I love this country, John. I love it. I love the people. And you look at these soccer fans coming from all over the world going, my gosh, we've been lied to about America. And they're like, I don't ever want to leave. No, we don't either. And we're not going to stand idly by while people spit on it and burn our flag. People that were born here. America turns 250, but we're up against it in some places, aren't we?
We really are. In 2013, 82% of the American people had a extremely or very proud feeling about America. That number is now down to 51%. And the reason is that the left controls so many institutions that create societal norms and belief systems. They control the media and still dominate it, even though there's shows like yours and a much bigger and stronger voice in conservative media today than there used to be. They still largely control the agenda. They set the agenda in media and popular entertainment and film and television. They control the academic institutions. They often control corporate communications. They control the healthcare system. And obviously, we're very well aware now of the deep state. I always say, Steve, if you and I were in charge and we controlled CNN, Fox News, Newsmax, the New York Times, Washington Post, and all the rest of the big dailies, and we got to decide what the news was of the day, and we've been doing it since 2013. I think that number would not be 82% back then, 51% now. It'd probably be about 95% because we'd be talking about the nobility of America.
Well, that's true. And look, I don't mind criticism, but this isn't criticism. This is a daily regurgitation of hate and rage and disgust, and every little pimple is magnified into being some sort of volcano. I mean, that's how they operate. They turn everything into America's terrible. And then you see the people come here. And suddenly everything is great, right?
Exactly. And unfortunately, what the political left has learned is that their path to power through electoral politics is grievance, it's resentment, it's envy. And that's why group identity politics is so central to what they're doing. They want to divide us into these little slices of humanity and treat us by our identity rather than our humanity. So if you're Black, if you're brown, if you're an immigrant, if you're gay, or any of the other alphabet soup of that part of their coalition, you are being oppressed, usually by white men like you and I, and the system itself is oppressing you, the oppressive system of America's founding. And it's only through picking the Democrat Socialist or the Democrat Party, which are now becoming one and the same, that you can assuage your grievance and find justice. And this is what they're selling to people. And unfortunately, it's a seductive sales pitch, in part because everybody suffers, everybody lives life and has calamities. You have, your listeners have, your viewers have. And the old way in America was that when you got knocked down, someone helped you get up, dusted you off, and you got back in the game. Now you must attack and try to extract something from the system, often through lawsuits and other things, or some sort of entitlement program, and become dependent.
Well, I go back to the monuments. What would possess a person to go and intentionally destroy something beautiful? You know, they sliced the liner, they dumped some sort of chemicals into it. I'm going to guess it was fertilizer so that they could get algae to bloom and do everything they could to destroy it. If Barack Obama, who spent, by the way, 3 times as much money trying to fix the same thing, they wouldn't do that to Barack Obama. They only do it to Donald Trump. It is a bizarre turn of events. I mean, there are so many adults. You mentioned Donald Trump's name. They can't even talk to you. They won't even speak to you. I mean, they act like petulant children. These are people in their 60s and 70s. I mean, honestly, what the hell's wrong with them?
Well, Trump deranged syndrome is a real thing. And I think, if Trump was a Democrat, basically doing exactly what he's done as a Republican, they'd be talking about how authentic he was, how real he is, how we've never had a president that was so connected to the American people. He's raw, and that's what we need, is that kind of authenticity. And he's breaking up the power structures in a way that has never been done before. That's what the narrative would be if he was a Democrat. But the fundamental problem is, and why they're going after the monuments, is the part of what's happening. They've gone from being keyboard warriors on social media to going out and protesting, some of whom are paid, obviously. There's a huge funding infrastructure for these protests, which are not organic. They're astroturf and orchestrated. But so some of these people are being paid to do this. But the ones that are doing it out of passion, they think that this is symbolic. They think it's 1968 and they're protesting the Vietnam War. They bought the narrative that the right and Donald Trump and MAGA Americans and frankly, patriotic Americans are threatening our democracy. And they think that this is a symbolic fight on behalf of that because the propaganda of the left has been so effective.
And last question, we got about a minute here. Is it too late? I mean, for a lot of people, they feel like it's too late. America is the Roman Republic going the wrong direction. Last word to you.
It's not too late so long as those 51% start to sell and fight back and try to grow that, and that we seize the moral arguments in all the arguments that are going on today. The Democrat socialists that have taken over the Democrat Party, a once great party in America, rely on coercion rather than persuasion. They rely on submission rather than consent. And we have to make those arguments that to achieve the political power they want, they must subjugate the American people. If we make those arguments in moral terms, we'll win and America will rise once again and have another great 250 years.
John Tillman from the American Culture Project, thank you for being here. I will not be subjugated, John. I will not.
I'm with you, Steve.
I might end up being a martyr, but I will not be enslaved by idiocy. Sir, thank you for being here. Happy 4th of July.
Happy Independence Day.
There you go. Independence Day from stupidity. And All right, and welcome back to it here on a Monday, headed to the 4th of July. And I got a favor to ask of you here. We are in the middle of a very exciting project here. Ivy's going to join me at the top of the hour, of course, like she always does. We're going to talk about this. But on Friday, we released the song One Nation. It's a nation about God and country and freedom. It's a 4th of July anthem. It really is a 4th of July anthem for all of us to celebrate. Here's a little preview.
From prayer to purpose to a promise that still stands. From Rav's own Steve Gruber comes One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project. A powerful new American anthem for the 4th of July. Faith, freedom, and unity in every line. A new release through Real America's Music. One Nation. Download it now. Scan the QR code or search One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project on iTunes.
One nation under God, may we always be the home of the brave and the land of the free. For every battle, blood was lost. God bless America, sea to shining sea.
Hold that up there for a second, Anthony. Hold that up there for a second. I guess you can't. It's all right. All I'm asking for is for you to keep us going. We made it to #1 on the Christian charts on iTunes, but we want to go higher on all genres. We do that with your help. There it is. There's your QR code. You can go ahead and click on that. Download and power Real American Music. There is no AI. It's 100% American made. It's the real deal. Nothing fake here. Laura Kokenauer there belting it out with her voice and the guitar. Ivy's in there singing in the background. We're going to talk about this coming up and have a little deeper dive on that. But I appreciate your support, America. Let's put, by the way, it is the only Christian song in the top 20 on iTunes. Let's show them what we believe. There's your QR code. You can also go to iTunes. If you don't have an iPhone, you can go to Amazon on your other devices and download it. As America prepares to celebrate 250 years of freedom, one question matters more than ever. Who have we become? Today on Forgotten America, author and political commentator Drew Allen argues that America's greatest crisis isn't political, it's cultural. From the decline of faith and family to the loss of community and national identity, he says the challenges we face today began long before this latest election cycle. He's right. Can a nation rediscover the values that once made it strong? And is America's best chapter still ahead? I think so. Don't miss this powerful conversation. Forgotten America. It's our podcast with Drew Allen. All you have to do is search Steve Gruber on YouTube. By the way, you can also find the One Nation video there. You'll love that, the official video for One Nation, all on YouTube. But here's a preview of Drew Allen.
I felt like I was a lukewarm Christian. I was a believer, but it was not a priority in my life. Making money and doing other things was priority number one, right?
Yeah.
Career, etc. And I think that, this is what's amazing about the way God works. And it's hard for us to understand sometimes because we're human beings born into sin and tragedy strikes. But, there's God's upper story where, he is going to fulfill his plans no matter what we do. He's working and, he makes the Israelites wander for a very, very long time before he brings them to the promised land. It's not on our time. And his death in some, miraculous way from God's perspective, I guess, did that to so many people. He opened up so many hearts and he really used Charlie's both life and death and is using it to transform other people's lives.
He mentions Charlie Kirk. Man, do I miss him. I do. What a transformational day that was, the 10th of September, 2025. Live on the air when that all went down. Tough place to be, but transformational for so many. I mean, you ask my wife, you ask Ivy what that day meant to her, and she will tell you it changed her. It changed her. So with that in mind, we're not going to give up on America, now or ever. I will be here till my last breath. I'll not sit idly by while our culture is undermined and I'm told that America is a terrible place, especially when I can see all these wonderful people from all over the world coming in and telling us how great it is every single day, because they realize they've been lied to. And so have we. Oh, you're this terrible, racist, awful country based on a poor premise, based on the greatest governing documents ever written. When at the age of 33, Thomas Jefferson penned the Declaration of Independence with some input from Franklin and Hamilton and some others, it became one of the greatest documents in world history. So go to YouTube. You can bring that back up, Anthony. It's fine. Go to YouTube. You click there, it'll take you straight to the YouTube page. Become a subscriber for free. Believe in America. Watch the latest Forgotten America podcast. Catch One Nation, the official video for the song, and help us push that song to number one. Show the world that we're real Americans and we believe in this country like I do. You know, I remember I was like 7 years old, and I had this epiphany in my mother's house, standing there at the top of the stairs, funny green paint, that old 60s green, and thought to myself, I am really blessed to be an American, really blessed to be an American. I still feel that way. And I'm not going to let these socialist, radical revolutionaries tear it out of my fingers. I'm not, and I hope you're with me. It's the greatest country ever. And on Saturday, I'm going to celebrate 250 years of greatness of that city on the hill. Been a lot of great broadcasting on Real America's Voice about it as well from all over this great nation of ours. I hope you tune in. I'll take a break. Ivy's on the way. Don't go anywhere. All right. Well, the U.S. and Iran have agreed to halt strikes that have been going back and forth in a limited capacity over the weekend. Iran went after Bahrain and Kuwait. We struck back with their missile launchers. Allegedly, we're in a ceasefire, but we'll see what happens. But talks are now scheduled to happen in Qatar. Technical talks say to continue on all areas of the memorandum of understanding. Both sides will stand down for now. Vessels can move freely through the Strait of Hormuz, which, by the way, brings me to the oil prices today, $69. Gas again today is down, but it's, down slightly. 386 is where we stand today. That's down from 392 a week ago. 439 was the national average a month ago. So we're not to where we were. A year ago it was 318. We're not quite there yet, but it is incredibly important. Incredibly important that we find a solution here. But let's be honest here. What do the Iranians want? They want chaos on the 4th of November. They want chaos for the elections because they can tell how the electorate in America will not reward Donald Trump for ongoing hostilities in Iran. So that's where we find ourselves, looking at what happens next. This part of the program brought to you by my good friends at PuroVet. Support for today's show comes from PuroClean's Veterans Initiative. PuroClean is a great restoration company. I know I had a fire in my house, a rental house, a year ago. They have been wonderful. Through a terrible time, they've been wonderful. And they have this program for veterans. If you know one or you are one, this is an opportunity to get to the front of the line and get your own business, your own franchise. They're investing in our nation's heroes at PuroClean by helping them own and operate thriving local businesses. You can find out more at 855-PuroVet or purovet.com. And in this week of 250, this year of 250, celebrating America, let's celebrate our vets. 855-PuroVet and purovet.com. We'll be back with Ivy in just a moment here on Daybreak.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
Welcome back as we continue fighting for you from the Foxhole of Freedom, fighting for this country as we head to the 4th of July, digging deeper into all of it so you get the truth. Here are 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1, the devastation from 2 massive earthquakes in Venezuela could crush the nation's economy, at least in the short run. Tens of thousands of people reportedly still missing. The full extent of the destruction and the death could take weeks to figure out. Number 2, the price of gas is slowly coming down as oil has now settled below $70 a barrel, but people filling their tanks would like to see it drop faster. I'm one of those. It's down to about $3.80 a gallon right now. And number 3, and we're going to start this hour with One Nation, because one of the people key to that song is joining me. Ivy's here this morning. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
And One Nation, for any of you that have missed it, is the new song we released under the banner of Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project on Friday. Me and Ivy and our good friend Laura Kokenauer, who is just magical on this. And Ivy, we did this. I mean, we had every possible roadblock thrown in front of us over the last couple of weeks, haven't we?
We sure have, Steve. I just find that, when you're doing something important, all of a sudden it seems like everything goes wrong. And we're still kind of facing that even today. But on Friday, just so the folks know, our internet went down on our radio station, main distribution platform, our Ecamm Live system, which allows us to go out over the airways on streaming, and everything else went down. It was a miracle we even made it through the day. And then iTunes delayed the release of One Nation for, 5 or 6 hours.
15.
Even longer than that.
15, but who's counting? 15 hours iTunes delayed us. I know, and everything that was going on, it was hard to keep track of all the roadblocks. The devil doesn't like us much today, I'll tell you that.
No, absolutely not.
But the song, over the weekend, hit number 1 on the Christian charts for iTunes. Almost made the top 10 on iTunes. It slipped back a little bit. So this morning, we want you to hear the song. We want you to believe in this project. We're going to play the song for you right here. Go ahead, Anthony, roll it.
Lord, hear my earnest prayer for these United States. Keep her in your holy protection. Our first president prayed, cultivate the hearts of the people to unite in the faith and form a bond of brotherly love to what no man could ever break. Lord, bless the fallen soldiers who have given up their lives, the blood spilled in the battles, and the family left behind. We honor the fallen soldiers who have fought and given all. 250 years, we're still standing tall. One nation under God. May we always be the home of the brave and the land of the free. For every battle, blood was lost. God bless America, sea to shining sea. One nation under God. We're united, strong and free.
I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and to the republic
and to the republic
for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
One nation under God, may we always be the home of the brave and the land of the free. For every battle, blood was lost. God bless America, sea to shining sea. One nation under God. God bless America, strong, united, free. One nation under God, may we always be.
I'm so proud when I watch that. I really am. Ivy, we had a chance to
Me
speak in
too.
church yesterday about this. And
Yeah.
you were terrific, by the way. Ivy she'd never
Thank you.
done this before. She got in front of the crowd, talked about this song because it's not about political division. It's not about partisanship. To you, it's about coming together, isn't it?
Yeah, and I have my write-up from yesterday I'd like to share with everyone listening today. This song isn't about politics, it is about people. It's about remembering that before we're divided by parties, opinions, or geography, we're Americans. It's about honoring those who sacrificed everything so we could live in freedom. And it's about remembering that the same God our founders sought in the one who still calls us to humility, gratitude, courage, and unity. My hope is that One Nation does more than entertain. I hope it reminds us of where we've come from, what we have been given, and what we're called to preserve. I hope it reminds us that the freedoms we enjoy were purchased with great sacrifice and sustained by generations willing to defend them. Most of all, I hope it inspires us to cultivate our hearts, just as George Washington prayed, to unite in faith and form a bond of brotherly love that no man could ever break. As we celebrate this Independence Day here a few days away, 250 years in our American history, may we once again seek the wisdom of our God, our founders sought. May we bless this nation, incline our hearts towards one another, and grant us the wisdom, humility, and courage to become the people He has called us to be. May America always remain one nation under God. And Steve,
Amen.
I know that you listened to the president last week. I
He
think
said the
this,
same
what was it?
thing.
He said
Yeah,
the
he said
same
the same
thing.
thing. Help us out, folks. Let's push it. It's number one on the Christian charts on iTunes. But
Download
let's
it.
push this song. Download this song. If you have an iPhone, it's on iTunes. If you have an Android, go to Amazon. You can download it. It's there for you. You can watch the official video on YouTube, of course, either at Steve Gruber or the Real America's Voice YouTube channel. I want to thank Real America's Music for making it possible to put out patriotic music that matters to people. The song touches so many people. I hope it touches you as well. Download it now. Help us out. Let's move the needle, my friends. Ivy, love you.
Love you.
All right. We'll be right back.
Do you ever find yourself
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you here today. We've talked about this quite a bit, and there's a reason for that. It's a crime that continues to find its way into neighborhoods all over America. Even in the free state of Florida, people getting on the internet, finding information about other folks, and pulling a scam, ripping off friends and family and others. Here's a preview of what we're going to talk about. Listen to this.
All new at 10, deputies say this woman is behind a 3-year-long property scam.
Cheryl Jefferson is accused of selling vacant lots that she didn't own in Flagler County, and those lots were worth almost $500,000. And Fox 35's Bailey Bockover joins us live in Flagler County with that one. So, Bailey, what was the reason she gave deputies for what she's accused of doing?
Hi, John. Well, the woman reportedly claims she was just trying to help her, quote, celebrity music friends build a music studio. But instead, deputies say she was funneling stolen money overseas.
Yeah, here she is, Cheryl Jefferson, 63 years of age, arrested in Flagler County, ripping off her friends, apparently. Tom Simons joining me, spokesman for Home Title Lock, former FBI special agent with 26 years experience, investigating this kind of crime, white-collar crime. He also did counterterrorism and national security matters, and he's been digging deep into this. Tom, good morning.
Steve, this one's good morning. This is a wild story. The details are just baffling to me. So we, as you said in the intro, we got this woman, 63-year-old Cheryl Jefferson of Bartow, Florida. She gets busted for selling multiple properties that she didn't actually own. Now, to pull this off, right, she impersonates legitimate property owners, forges the ownership paperwork, and sells vacant lots without the owner's knowledge. And so the victims here, they really got run through the ringer. In one case, the real owner reportedly learned that something was wrong after trying to pay property taxes and finding out that she no longer owns the home. Another case, the family goes and checks on a vacant lot that they own, and they find that a house had already been built on land they believe belonged to them. And we see this a lot, right? Vacant land, second homes, inherited properties, investment properties. They're particularly vulnerable to home title theft because owners may not monitor the county records regularly or even have constant visibility on the land itself. And so this woman, Cheryl, she brought in more than $400,000 from the theft of 5 different properties. But then there's this crazy twist. It's now been revealed that Cheryl was doing this on behalf of scammers in Nigeria and sending the home theft proceeds to Nigerians using cryptocurrency.
Unbelievable. So Tom, I've owned vacant property in my life, and I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't go drive by it oftentimes. I've got a lot here, a piece of ground there. You know, unless I'm doing something over there specific, which is pretty rare, it could sit there for a year or two. I wouldn't go drive by. I wouldn't pay attention to it. And so when you drive by and see a house already built on it, my jaw would fly wide open. I mean, hello, who built a house on my land? I mean, honestly.
I know. It's like the perfect crime, right? Because no one's watching the store, right? It's this vacant piece of lot. But I just couldn't imagine driving by your land, Steve, and seeing like kids pushing each other in a swing in the front yard into your land. You didn't even know there was a house there.
Right. $421,995 that she fleeced from people, stole from people. Let's be honest. And with an interconnected world, you can find the information you need to be a thief, and you really can pull this off. Now, in recent weeks, we've done stories out of Texas, California, now Florida. The fact of the matter is, Tom, this is not isolated to any specific area of America. It's the Wild West out there all over the country when it comes to this sort of thing, isn't it?
It is, and that's because the county clerks really aren't watching the transactions that get brought into them to transfer ownership of your home from you to somebody else. Their job is recorder of deeds, and that's all they do.
So how do you protect yourself? I mean, look, besides driving by your vacant lot, once a week, twice a week, whatever it is. Now, this woman had a strange twist, sending her money to Nigeria. I don't know what that's about. But the fact of the matter is, these folks will rip off their families, their friends, their neighbors, and complete strangers. Nobody's immune here, are they?
Agreed. I mean, any one of us who has equity in our homes, and that's usually the largest asset, I know it's mine, that we have, is vulnerable to this. And so the important thing that everyone needs to do is figure out a way to monitor the status of their home title. The problem is that you're going to drive yourself crazy driving to the county clerk's office to check that every day, which is why I advocate for a service called Home Title Lock that will do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Home Title Lock, will watch your look. When I first came on and started doing work with Home Title Lock, I had no idea where my title was. They asked me, "Where's your title?" I'm like, have no idea. I don't think most people do, Tom. I don't think anybody pays attention. And therefore, if you're not paying attention, whether it's because it happens to people that are in their home, or somebody that's elderly goes to the nursing home, or whatever. I mean, there are so many different approaches to steal people blind these days. It's mind-boggling. So what does Home Title Lock do?
Well, Home Title Lock's going to monitor the status of your home title for you, so you can kind of set it and forget it. But the important thing is that they're going to notify you as soon as there's any kind of change to your home title, whether that's a lien, a loan placed on your place, or transfer of ownership to someone else. And the most important part from my perspective is their US-based restoration team of legal professionals, and they're going to be the ones who unwind the transaction if, God forbid, something happens. You're not going to have to bear the expense of the attorneys it's going to take to restore that home back into your good name.
Yeah, it's really important. If you don't know where your title is, figure it out. Step one. Step two, get a hold of my friends at Home Title Lock and make sure, because they'll spend up to $1 million if something happens under their watch. They don't just say, well, I'm sorry that happened. No, they protect you. That's really critical, isn't it, Tom?
It's the whole ball game, right? So the police may end up being able to arrest people like Cheryl, but what they're not going to do is be able to restore these vacant lots back into the rightful owner's names. It's just not the cop's job. And so what's going to happen is the victims are going to have to spend a fortune on the attorneys. Better to outsource that to Home Title Lock. Let them bear that expense with just the pennies a day you're spending for the subscription.
Yeah, in fact, in most states, a lot of what we're talking about here, there are no laws on the books. When I say the Wild West, it's also in the legal system. You're basically on your own. Tom?
Right.
Really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me on to bring up this important issue.
It's important. And guys, look, we keep showing you one place after another after another. If you want to know more about Home Title Lock, use the QR code on your screen right there. You can find out more. They've got a special offer right now, 25% off. It's going to save you $100 over a couple of years. You can save money right now with HometitleLock.com. Promo code is Gruber25. Gruber25. Well, we mentioned Charlie Kirk earlier, and I want to mention this in case you missed it. Tyler Robinson's attempt to have his death penalty removed was denied. It's an important development. His accused assassin, I should say, Tyler Robinson, can still face the death penalty if convicted of aggravated murder, according to a Utah judge on Friday. Judge Tony Graff found Deputy Utah County Attorney Christopher Ballard was in contempt of a court order for statements he made about his opinion on the strength of evidence in the case, but he was not wrong for making other statements in which he disputed a misleading characterization about specific ballistics evidence from a defense court filing. As a result, Graff denied Robinson's argument that the appropriate remedy would be to remove the potential death penalty, and instead he said he would expand the jury selection process to ensure a fair trial. Still on the table. If you're tired of thin, lifeless hair, if you cringe every time you see another clump in the shower drain, well, then your hair probably needs more protein. Just like our muscles lose protein as we age and atrophy, our hair loses protein as well, leading to thin, dry, and brittle strands. That's where Hydrolift volumizing shampoo by Purins can help. Hydrolift contains wheat protein that strengthens your hair follicles from deep within. It transforms thin and lifeless hair into fuller, more resilient locks. It also contains betaine from sugar beets, which draws water into your strands, making your hair feel silky soft. Right now, you can try Hydrolift Volumizing Shampoo risk-free and save 35% with the discount code DAYBREAK. Head over to pureants.com to shop and save right now. And by the way, Pure Ants has many other fantastic products if you're looking to rejuvenate your skin, hair, or nails. These are all USDA certified organic, so they're great for your body and the environment. Again, you can save 35% on your entire order with the discount code DAYBREAK at pureants.com. Shop and save today, 35%. What are you going to do for the 4th of July? How are you going to celebrate? Drop me an email at stevegruber.com. Curious to hear what you're going to do, America. What are your plans for Saturday? I'll be in small town America. Why? Because I think it's just beautiful. But the fireworks in D.C. could be the greatest thing ever. What are you going to do? stevegruber.com. Drop me an email. Let me know. I'll be right back. All right, back at it now. The war in Iran, we've got a ceasefire. We've got this memorandum of understanding, but we were also exchanging some fire over the weekend. Iran, as you know, went after Bahrain and Kuwait President Trump not pleased with that. The U.S. military taking out some military sites in Iran as a result. But how do we get there? The Abraham Accords, the move toward a different dynamic in the Middle East. That's what this president is working for. Joining me now is Ambassador Carla Sands. She's the chair of the Foreign Policy at American First Policy Institute. She was the ambassador to Denmark during her time in Washington. Carla, nice to see you today.
Great to be with you, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning. Look, we all know that dealing with the Iranians is like dealing with a lying child. They'll say anything they can to get a piece of candy, and then they'll go back on their word. I mean, that's the way it is, right? So President Trump understands this, but he's also committed to permanent peace in Iran and a different day in the Middle East. Look, my entire life and yours, we've watched wars come and go in the Middle East, some worse than others, some longer than others. It's time to turn that page, isn't it?
Steve, it's so unbelievable that we're talking about this on the cusp of our nation's 250th birthday. This happened about 3 years after our nation's 200th birthday, where we had these revolutionaries, the mullahs, and their, I would say, jackboot thugs take over a big economy in the world, Iran, over 90 million people. And these are great people. And, they just want to have opportunity and live their lives, their best lives like others. And now they are under the boot of this really terrible regime that's bloodthirsty and very misogynistic and kills their own citizens. I think there were 40,000 of their own citizens just killed in the first half of this year. So what does President Trump come in? He's the first U.S. president to actually do what he said he was going to do, because every president since this happened has said they're going to do something about it and not let Iran become a nuclear power and then really threaten the world. Like President Trump said, what do you say to a nuclear powered nation? Yes, sir, because that is very, very dangerous. It escalates the lethality of this crazy regime. And so President Trump is doing what he should do, but everybody else punted, and bringing them to their knees. And this is the Mullah regime, because the Iranian people are great. They're educated and they're young and they're entrepreneurial. They just want opportunity. So let's see what happens. It's tough because this regime does not want to go down. They don't want to leave power, and they want to have a nuclear weapon. President Trump is not going to let that happen. And now we're going to have those talks in Doha, Qatar, this week, I think, and see if they can't move this ball forward. But like President Trump said, if they keep coming back at this, we're going to keep pushing them, and we will not let them succeed at this. But Qatar wants the president of Iran is saying that Qatar's going to release about $6 billion of their frozen funds to them. Let's see if that actually happens. I think we need to see more from them before they get funds.
I mean, let's be honest, Carla, what the mullahs and the IRGC really want is for there still to be conflict come November the 4th, because they can read the tea leaves and say, look, if we can keep this conflict and keep stirring things up, then President Trump will lose his control in Washington. The House will go to the Democrats. They'll play games impeaching him for the next 2 years, and we will be out of the way and we'll be able to stall until he's gone. That's got to be their game plan, right?
Not only that, Steve, but if you saw what the Senate did, including some Republicans, while President Trump's team was in, very tense negotiations with the Iranians, they voted to take away President Trump's power. It didn't mean anything, but it means something, because it means that President Trump was not in charge, I will say, of his own team on the Senate. So he got that reversed, and that's good. But we want to see the U.S. Senate, and that means Republicans and Democrats, rallying behind the U.S. president. This should not be political. This is actually for every American citizen's security that President Trump is doing this. Thank God. And so I really hope that we will see a change. Hope springs eternal, but really this is something that historically politics stops at the water's edge, and the whole of Congress should be supporting President Trump, because he is representing all of them in their security and their safety against a regime that has said from the pulpit and the podium every day, death to America. I mean, it's death to Israel and then death to America. And certainly President Trump is on the right side of history with what he's doing, and we should all be supporting his agenda.
It seems to me that, the fly in the ointment, there's two. One, of course, is President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu not agreeing on the plan. And look, our goals are not the same as Israel's. Let's be clear about that. The other fly in the ointment is Hezbollah, because Iran seems to think that should be part of the overall peace deal. If Iran can keep Hezbollah in check and we can keep Israel from stirring the pot, that will get us a lot closer to a permanent peace deal. But these two things are pretty critical, aren't they?
Well, Steve, Israel has a right to defend its territory and its people, just like the United States does for our people and our territory. And I don't agree that Lebanon should be part of this deal. This is between the U.S. and Iran. Iran's IRGC and their mullahs have been funding Hezbollah. It's like they work for Iran. So to say they're going to keep them in check it's impossible. Their shock troops in Lebanon to not only take over a Christian country, right, which Lebanon was, but also to harass and take over Israel. They don't want Israel to exist. And so these are part of, Iran's, I would say, proxies is Hezbollah, along with Hamas and the Houthi rebels being also funded by Iran. And so they're not going to keep them in check. They're going to give them money to continue to harass and kill Israeli people. Israel is an ally of the U.S. That's their war. And the Iran conflict is something that President Trump, I hope that he keeps that a narrow focus and does not allow Iran to pull in Israel's interest in Lebanon into our deal. It's two different things.
We do know that they've had some heated exchanges in recent weeks, though. We do know that, Carla. So that's why, look, it's delicate. You're dealing with a group of people that cannot be trusted. But I think the initiative, the goal here is commendable. It's admirable. Look, he's moved the needle farther in the Middle East than any president in my lifetime, and I think he should be celebrated, not condemned for that. Carla, always good to talk to you.
Great to be with you, Steve. Thanks.
Greatly appreciated. Ambassador Carla Sands. But it's delicate, make no mistake. I mean, when the Iranians tell you something, it's not worth much because they'll go right back 12 hours later, do something different. It's a very difficult needle to thread, to say the least. Right now, oil prices down to $69, gas at $3.80 a gallon nationwide. We're getting there, slowly but surely. We'll sort it out. Send me an email. What do you think? What's it going to take to bring peace to the Middle East? Is it even possible? Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be right back. All right, let's jump back into it, shall we? You know, President Trump we talked about this earlier on the program with John Tillman. If Donald Trump got even a little bit of positive coverage from CNN or NBC or CBS or the New York Times, even a little bit, I mean, 95% or more of the coverage of this president is negative. What if it was 50-50? What if it was just 25% of it was decent? I mean, it changes everything. The Fourth Estate here has lined up in battle gear against this president from the time he was nominated back in 2016, even before that, you know, during the primaries when it was clear he was going to win. They lined up shoulder to shoulder to attack this guy, to fight this guy, to knock him down. And everything good that he's done, they've tried to twist into something bad. And now, I don't agree with everything that he does. I don't think we should have 700,000 Chinese students in America stealing our secrets and working in research and so forth. I think it's a terrible idea. I think when it comes to studying PFAS chemicals, the president rolled back some of those regulations, the forever chemicals. I think that's a terrible idea. But on balance, a secure border, working hard to change the dynamic in the Middle East, working hard to put energy policy front and center and not rely on windmills and solar panels, but rely on real American energy. Yes, I agree with all of those things. And beautifying the nation's capital, making Washington, D.C. a crown jewel. I think it's a great idea. Of course, these idiots, 7 people arrested so far for damaging and destroying the reflecting pool. I mean, who does that? What is wrong with you that you are so dark and so devious and so twisted that you think destroying, because that's not yours. It's not his either, the reflecting pool. It's America's reflecting pool. They are American monuments. It is the American capital. And so to come in and deface it and destroy it, there's something dark about your soul. And on border security, President Trump was a hero to the American people compared to Joe Biden. CNN actually had to admit the truth on this. Here it is.
So, Harry, just how is border security in terms of polling playing right now?
You know, President Trump has been the most transformative president when it comes to border security. And when it comes to border security particularly, it's paying off for him in the polls. So just take a look here. Okay, net approval rating on border security at this point in the presidency. Look at where Joe Biden was. In June of 2022, he was way underwater. Look at this, 23 points underwater. Look at where President Trump is right now. He's actually above water. He is on the positive side of the ledger at plus 2 points. So he's 25 points more popular than Joe Biden was at this point in his presidency. And the American people, when it comes to President Trump, actually like the job that he's doing when it comes to border security in particular.
So they like the job that he's doing. Look, if you had reporting like that, because that will never appear on NBC or CBS or ABC, The View will never mention that, of course, or wherever else people get their news, on TikTok or whatever, right? We need to set the record straight, shall we? You know, and when it comes to these radicals, one of the people that's in the target zone right now is Hakeem Jeffries. If the Democrats win, he'll be Speaker of the House. Obama light. Dollar store Obama, whatever you know. He thinks he's Obama, he's not. But he continues to downplay this attack on his party from inside his own party. You see, you let all these radicals and these revolutionaries inside the tent and gave them a seat at the table. They decided to just flip the table over and set the tent on fire. Hakeem Jeffries just keeps downplaying it because what else is he to do? Listen.
You had a chance to speak with the New York City Mayor Mamdani on Wednesday, is that right?
Yeah, Mayor Mamdani and I had a very good conversation. It was forward-looking, you know, it was authentic, it was candid, and I think we both have taken the position that there are going to be times where we may, as a congressional delegation, agree to strongly disagree with each other on endorsements, but at the same period of time, at all times, be committed to actually making life better and more affordable for the people in New York City and beyond. And in this moment of great extremism, it's an all-hands-on-deck approach. And so we've got to come together, city, state, and federal government told officials in order to continue to do our best to get the job done. And that's sort of a commitment that I believe we all share as we move forward at this time.
Yeah. Sure, Hakeem. They're coming to burn your tent down and you're handing them the gasoline. Sure, go with that. Meanwhile, Mike Rogers is running for U.S. Senate in Michigan, a Republican. He says the Democrat Party is quite clearly out of control. Here he is.
Welcome to the modern Democrat Party. This is not your dad's Democrat Party. It's not your grandmother's Democrat Party. This thing has veered so far to the left. And Michigan, I think, is at the epicenter of that. We have somebody who is very proudly associated and flirts with the Democrat Socialists of America, talks about government taking over your health care, talks about government taking over certain sectors of the economy. I mean, you start thinking about what they are for, it is a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Absolutely true. Mike Rogers, the leading Republican to be the next senator from Michigan. Very good chance that he will win that seat, especially if Abdul El-Sayed, that he's talking about there, is the nominee. Did you know that over 90% of Americans don't get enough essential vitamins and minerals from their food alone? And some research suggests natural vitamins are superior to synthetic ones. Go figure. Longevity, that we use in this house every day, excellent source of over 20 natural vitamins and minerals from real food sources, not synthetic. Longevity is a complete nutritional support, and it gives you everything you need to age well. Go to longevitywellness.co. Enter the promo code Gruber at checkout for a special discount. Longevitywellness.co. Longevitywellness.co. We use it here. I don't care, 8 to 80, all points in between, either end of that scale too. Let's just be honest here. It's great. And I keep getting the emails from you guys. Look, we only talk about products we actually use. This is one of them. Ivy will start her day with this. My son uses it when he goes to workouts and afterwards. It's a great product. American-made health and wellness. Make America healthy again. Longevitywellness.co. I'll be right back. Well, I'm sorry to say we had to put Brock Palmbush on the bench just for a moment, just for today. We have, like I said, we have battled every possible problem you can imagine over the last 2 weeks, bringing One Nation to you, the public. And one of the problems has been internet issues, connectivity issues, tech issues. As they say, the devil is in the details. Boy, is he. Boy, is he in the details. Yeah, anyhow. Love to have your help. One Nation, number one on the Christian charts at iTunes, sitting really well on the overall chart as well, but I need your help. Let's move this thing. If you have an iPhone, download One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project on iTunes for them on iPhone. If you have an Android, do it on Amazon. No problem. I got you covered here. If you haven't heard about the song, I don't know where you've been, but here's a quick preview.
From prayer to purpose to a promise that still stands. From Rav's own Steve Gruber comes One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project. A powerful new American anthem for the 4th of July. Faith, freedom, and unity in every line. A new release through Real America's Music. One Nation. Download it now. Scan the QR code or search One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project on iTunes.
One nation under God, may we always be the home of the brave and the land of the free. For every battle, blood was lost. God bless America, sea to shining sea.
And there's your QR code right on the screen. Download it now. Again, if you've got an Android, you can go to Amazon and download it. We need your help here today, folks. Let's move this thing to number one. It is the only Christian song in the top sellers right now on iTunes. Let's make it number one. To get there, I need your help. It's pretty much that simple. I love that cowboy scene, by the way. The horse riding through, that's my favorite scene, except for maybe those drone shots, which I think are sweet. And somebody asked me, what kind of drum set do you put in the middle of a field? One you don't care about all that much. That's the answer. One you don't care about all too much. One Nation. Thank you for the support. Let's keep doing it. More after this.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, welcome to it. Glad to have you back here on a Monday. Can you believe it? We're on the verge of the 4th of July. It sounds a little bumpy outside where I am. Storms rolling through here at the Northern Compound. That's the way it is. But it's been a pretty quiet season as far as big storms go. Tornado activity is actually way down in America this year compared to the average. I guess the more severe storms bit is a bit overplayed, to say the least. Three big things this hour. Number one, migrants in the U.S. on temporary status should seek permanent residence, so says Homeland Security Secretary. Number two, the $10 billion twin earthquakes in Venezuela, very devastating, thousands still missing. And number three, back to the 4th of July idea, and that is the Save America Act, back front and center for the president. I can't believe that we have to sit here and have a conversation. Can you imagine the founding fathers sitting around discussing whether or not foreigners could come here and have children, they'd automatically be citizens, or that you'd have to, have some evidence of who you are to cast a vote, or you had to be a citizen? Can you imagine them having those conversations? I can't, quite honestly. The Save America Act remains a top priority for the president. Here he is.
Hard to believe, right? Hard to believe that we even have to fight for this. We have to fight for everything. Nothing comes easy. Nothing. All voters must show photo ID. Not so bad, right? All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Is that so hard? You're fighting the Democrats and a few Republicans who are doing a tremendous disservice to this country. We have a few Republicans that are fighting it. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. You should call her and tell her to get on the ball. She'll never win another election, I can tell you. She's got to vote. It's called the Save America Act. It's voter ID, ideally photo ID, right? So you can look and you can say, oh, that person's okay. Or, for lots of reasons, that person is not the same person. We want proof of citizenship. And we want no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, and military deployment or travel. We'll be very judicious.
On that point, the Supreme Court has a couple major decisions still waiting to be released. First of all, is it election day? Or is it election season like they have in California where they're still counting votes from their primary? They get 35 days to count votes. Simply unbelievable. It really is simply unbelievable, right? Accepting ballots after Election Day. How can that even be legal? Accepting ballots that have no signature, no date, just here's the ballot. Right, because that sounds above board. Give me a break. It's a 90-10 issue in America. Democrats support the Save America Act, all of them except the ones that are in Washington desperately clinging to power, while the socialists are trying to destroy the place they live and burn down the tent they're in. It's nuts. Speaking of the Democrat Party, in Texas, they always dream of turning Texas blue. Maybe someday they will, but it's not going to be this year. So I thought we'd check in on the Democrats in Texas, see what's on their minds, see how it's going down there. Here's what I found.
Next time they say that James is trans, we're all trans. When they say James is a gay tofu-eating vegan, we're all gay tofu-eating vegans. And when they say James is going to hell, will say we're all going to hell.
Yeah, have fun with that.
But joke's on them.
Yeah. We're all trans, we're all gay vegans, we're all going to... No. No, I can assure you that's not quite right. So the Democrat Party in Texas, obviously speaking to the needs of the people. Good Lord. What would Lyndon Baines Johnson say to that? You know, last Democrat president from Texas. I wonder what he would say to all that. He kind of had a rough mouth. I'm guessing he wouldn't approve. I'm just throwing it out there. But the Democrats today are different. Senator Chris Murphy is a perfect example. This guy's a twit, in my humble opinion. Another stooge embracing the communists as they come into the tent, sit at the table, and then light the tablecloth on fire, flip the table over, light the tent on fire, attack the Democrat Party. They're not Democrats. Just like James Carville said, these are not Democrats. Just like Bill Maher said, these are not Democrats. There's something else. There should be another political party for these people because they're not Democrats. But they call themselves that for political power. This is how bad it is for the people that are just looking the other way. Here's Chris Murphy.
Let's first off start with your reaction to the latest primary results out of New York. You've heard President Trump say that these candidates aren't socialists. He's gone as far as to call them communists. As someone who identifies as a progressive, is this a moment of reckoning for establishment Democrats?
Oh, I think you're going to have different candidates being nominated in New York City and suburban Connecticut. This is a party that is also nominated and won with candidates like Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill. I want us to be a Big Tent party. I mean, I've been saying this for years. I think that it's actually a sign of a party that is alive and growing when there's a contest of ideas inside the party. So I'm not a Democratic socialist, but I do believe that the Democratic Party has been historically way too timid in taking on corporate power.
The thing growing inside the Democrat Party is a communist tumor. It's consuming the party. And every time somebody like Chris Murphy, who the host calls a progressive, Chris Murphy never called himself a progressive until he needed to. He always called himself a moderate, like Abigail Spanberger that he just mentioned, you know, the governor of Virginia, that within a few days of taking office, introduced more than 50 new taxes. Walking your dog, fixing your car, fixing your house, getting your dog groomed, all to be taxed. To support what? Their socialist agenda. Chris Murphy always called himself a moderate. He wasn't. But now he's becoming a radical progressive. Why? For political power. Just become a chameleon. Be whatever you need to be to hang on to power and, of course, to the money. America burns down, so what? People get hurt, doesn't matter. Families get wrecked, yeah, I can look the other way. I don't think this sells in November. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am. But when I see Bill Maher and James Carville, among others, saying, this is not the Democrat Party, this is something else. This is a schism. They have split. Well, then you've got real problems. I'll take a break and be back. It is Daybreak. Nice to see you on a Monday. All right, welcome back to it on a Monday. A bit bumpy here at the Northern Compound as the storms of summer rolling through. By the way, they did have storms before they had Republicans, just so don't panic, all right? Joining me now, Trucker Randy, host of your Defending Fathers radio program. He covers all of northern Michigan. He's here to talk about a big event. If you don't have plans for the 4th of July, he's got one for you at Liberty Mountain, happening on the 4th. Randy, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, glad to have you, Randy. I'm doing good. We talk a lot about how, I was just talking about it again, how all these people are out there. Not a lot. I think most people still love America, Randy. I do. I know you do. But you've got these fringe people like these communists in New York City who want to burn the place down, or these people that go in and wreck the reflecting pool in Washington. Who wrecks their own? This is a national monument. This isn't yours. This is America's. It belongs to everybody. But here in the heart of America, we believe in this country. We believe in God and family, and you know what? We're going to celebrate it come Saturday, aren't we?
Amen, brother. Thanks for having me again. The largest outdoor concert venue, Steve, actually in the state of Michigan, perhaps the entire country. You're familiar with Pine Knob down on Sashaball Road in Clarkston? Well,
of course.
This venue is 4 times larger. It can hold up to 40,000 people outdoors. There's camping available starting on Friday night. And what we're going to do is launch summer, 4th of July. Grand Funk Railroad's former vocalist, lead guitar, and songwriter, Mark Farner's American Band is going to be there. We're excited. That's Saturday, July 4th. And then just to mention, if you go to the website where the tickets are available, libertymountainusa.com, click on events, Steve, you'll see Mark Farner on the 4th of July. But 3 weeks later, we're excited. We're doing a fundraiser at the mountain for the Michigan Republican Party and our candidates. All 83 county parties are going to benefit. Ted Nugent has agreed to bring his band and do a fundraiser for the Michigan Republican Party. That's just 3 weeks later on Saturday, July 25th. So all the information's there, Liberty Mountain USA. We're excited.
You know, the last time I saw Ted Nugent play live was at Pine Knob that you just mentioned. It just about melted my head. It's remarkable. Uncle Ted is in his 70s and still rocking like he's 25 years old. So big events and 4 times the size, 40,000 people, Randy. I mean, this place is a spectacular venue, isn't it?
Absolutely. One thing that they did, John Pastor, former state representative for the Livonia area, Steve, him and his brother Craig, the Pastor family, they've been in construction for about 42 years, and they did restaurants all across the country. They bought this actually at a bank foreclosure. It used to be Mott Mountain Ski Resort. And what they have basically is an airplane hangar that can, if it's raining, we can get about 1,500 people crammed into the building. But there is a stage then out front of the hangar. There's floor ground seating, kind of like the pavilion of Pine Knob without a roof. They can get about 4,000 people on this concrete pad with chairs, seated chairs, just like the pavilion. But then the lawn is basically the mountain. And Steve, I drove my old Yukon all the way to the top of the mountain. And the guy that was playing acoustical guitar singing, he only had the speakers cranked up to 10%. And that sound, Steve, was traveling right up the mountain. It was phenomenal. I got out of the mountain, I turned off the Yukon, sat on the grass, and just sat there. And I was like, you could hear every single word rolling out right up the mountain. So it's great acoustics, great venue, food trucks. Rob Cordes, the Trump Unity Bridge will be there. We got a bunch of great speakers lined up, and basically just wanted to kick off the summer with Mark Farner's band. $15 is all it takes. Kids are free. We basically just want people to come and see this venue and then consider maybe joining us 3 weeks later when Ted Nugent rolls into town on Saturday, July 25th.
You know, Mark Farner's a good man. I pheasant hunted with him a couple of times. He's a good man, interesting guy. Grand Funk Railroad, of course, American Band, and Some Kind of Wonderful, and all those songs that he penned, actually. And he's again a guy who loves America, Randy. He loves this country. God bless America, right?
Absolutely. Well, one thing that he has is a fantastic story. You know, he basically dropped out of high school there in the Flint area, and started playing guitar with a garage band. And one thing that's different about Mark Farner is his family story. Very loyal to his wife, Leisha. Had some family tragedy with their son. They survived that. But if you listen to the words in We Are the American Band song, he is probably the only rock star, famous rock star, that didn't get into drugs. He didn't get into alcohol. He didn't get into womanizing. He's been loyal to his wife all these years. Great story, great patriot. Vicky and I actually went up and he grilled us ribeye steaks at his house. And he showed us his home studio where he wrote a lot of his current songs for the band that they'll be introducing at this venue as well. But just a great American story. Right here, Petoskey, Michigan is where he lives. Listens to my show every day. He sends me text messages during it for some input. But joining us on basically the biggest kickoff for the summer, 4th of July, LibertyMountainUSA.com. Click on events. You can get your tickets and also the tickets for July 25th.
There you go, LibertyMountainUSA.com. Randy, sounds like a great place to be. The kids are free. It's just $15 to get in. And, you know, the way the earth is built, the way God built it, you can hear it all the way up the mountain. Randy, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve, for having me. Have a great day, buddy.
You too, my friend. All right, LibertyMountainUSA.com. You can celebrate America on the 4th of July, and then Ted Nugent rolls into town. You might want to sit a little higher on the mountain, just my experience. Ted still likes it loud and proud. That's the way it is. Liberty Mountain, it is a spectacular venue, right? It used to be a ski resort, like Randy said, and now it's a venue for America. One more time, LibertyMountainUSA.com. Look it up. Look for the events. Find out how you can join the party to celebrate 250 years. I'll take a break and be right back. You know what's amazing? It's how fast big stories come and go out of the headlines, right? I mean, let's be honest here. In Venezuela, there's only one story. It's in our headlines for what, a day, half a day, whatever it is, and it's gone. They're still looking for tens of thousands of missing people. Back-to-back earthquakes that came last Thursday, 6:30 p.m. roughly local time, 39 seconds apart, 7.3 and then 7.5. And the problem is it was a shallow earthquake. Right, the deeper in the earth, the less devastating it can be. It was a shallow earthquake, and you've got all of these buildings built on socialism, so they're not of high quality. Payoffs and backdoor deals and underhanded dealing and death. I mean, Caracas is devastated. The cities around it, ones you've never heard of, devastated. Families destroyed. One of the soccer players from the national team lost his wife and 2 young children in the earthquake I just read. It's just one tragic story after another. Now, America stepped right up. Donald Trump sent the elite search and rescue teams from all over America. They headed down there immediately. They're on the ground. But the airport in Caracas is closed. It's devastated. The runway is destroyed. Food, water, electricity, basic needs. Not there. And it's out of the headlines here. That's why I continue to talk about it, because it's important. This age of social media has given us such a short attention span. People forget about the heartbreak and the tragedy. There's got to be ways we can help. And the way that I'm going to do it is keep reminding you about it. It will take literally years for that city to bounce back, if it ever does completely. It'll never be the same. Trust me on that. It will never be the same. And right now, they're still in the, they're going to find a couple more miracles. But other than that, they're going to find bodies. But they will find a couple more miracles. Say your prayers for them. They will find a couple more, but it's going to be a tough road ahead, to say the least. Tough road ahead in Venezuela. I'll take a break and be right back on Daybreak. Well, I think we're going to get off the air just in time before the big thunderstorms roll in. Good news. You never know how weather can affect it, all this technology. We have enough challenges over the last couple of days as it is. Other challenges include what people are paying at the pump for gasoline, though it is getting better. The national average has fallen some. It is down to $3.86. National average $3.21, the cheapest. That's in Indiana. And the reason is oil is below $70 a barrel, has been for a few days, sitting at 69, 69 and a half. Joining me now, RT Trevino. He runs Pecos Country Energy, privately owned oil and gas company. RT, welcome back.
Oh, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Always good to see you, my friend. All right, so what's the latest? Oil under 70, but gas pretty stubborn. It's coming down a penny or two, but pretty stubborn. Why is that? What do people need to know?
Yes, that's a great question. And what people need to know is that even though gasoline prices are falling a lot slower than the price of oil globally and on the markets, we are still going to be lower than we've been here for years. Keep in mind, during the Biden administration, during the July 4th holiday, we were up even higher than where we are now. But the most concern, Steve, is really this is very typical for the oil and gas industry and for the gasoline side of it on the retail side. They are always the last ones to actually get to change the price of their commodity. So when the price of oil has dropped over the last 3 weeks, we will begin to see the price of gasoline drop over the next 3 weeks as well. Because keep in mind, there were still ships and refineries that are buying oil at $90 a barrel. And so that gasoline must get paid through first. So really
here's my question.
Oh, go ahead.
I've heard that explanation before. And here's what I ask and a lot of people ask, RT. The day after the conflict in Iran started, within 2 or 3 days, gas prices shot up 50 cents or more a gallon, right? We all saw it. And yet, the argument of, well, they paid X for the barrel of oil doesn't apply there. And so they paid for what they paid for in the ground for the gasoline then. It was cheap, and yet the prices shot up. And now that the prices are not coming down, well, it's the price of oil that they paid already. You see how we have a disconnect there and how people don't understand?
Yes, and that's a great question. I am glad that you brought that up. So what happens in those scenarios right overnight, there is some uncertainty that is built in at the refinery scenario in the midstream side of the oil and gas. Of that uncertainty of, are we going to get more supply immediately? Is our supply going to get cut off? So there is a cushion in there, if you will, for that uncertainty. And right now, that uncertainty is still real. We still really are not talking about how Cushing's, Oklahoma is still less than 2 weeks away from being very inventory low, and how during this entire conflict, we have been draining the SPR to keep our gasoline prices as low as they have been, not only for us, but for the rest of the world as well.
Right. And that's an important consideration, but the oil is flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. I saw the president here this past week say that 18 million barrels went through in one 24-hour period. I am assuming that it's continuing to flow. There's been a little bit of skirmish here and there, but no real disruption. That's good news. The real hope here for me is that Donald Trump is redefining the world energy markets, meaning, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined now in America. But other countries are also producing a tremendous amount. Venezuela had a setback because of the earthquakes, but Venezuela is coming back online. They're going to go back to 3 million barrels a day. You've got Argentina, Brazil, other countries now producing more in the Western Hemisphere, to the point that Iraq is talking about leaving OPEC. The UAE already left OPEC. And OPEC, which has been like this puppet master over us for years, is becoming less important every day, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. I'm glad you brought up the Strait of Hormuz and how oil is flowing through. I just wrote a great article on my Substack, Pecos Crude Truth, on how that Strait of Hormuz is going to only continue to get less and less important over the next 5 years because of what you're saying about how pipelines are being built now to bypass that strait completely. And it will take time. And not only is the United States the leading energy provider globally, but Texas alone produces now more oil than some of the OPEC countries. And you can see, as you said, how less important OPEC has become during this Iran conflict. And that is something that is so key to also know during this time.
Yeah. Now, these hostilities back and forth between Iran and the United States over the weekend, fairly minor, but it did slow down traffic a little bit, I'm reading, but it has not interrupted it at all. There might be a little bit of a slowdown, and maybe oil will come back up a little bit. But still at $69 or $70 a barrel, that's good news overall. And you say and I want to go back to what you said at the top here, RT, is that 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, oil is going to be cheaper than it's ever been.
I do like to think that we're going to stay somewhere between that $75 to $85 sweet spot that we always talk about, Steve. Right now, one of the other key reasons why gas and oil, more importantly, is so low is that China is not buying as much oil right now as they should be. One, because we are sticking it to them as a country because Iran and Venezuela was providing them cheap oil, and now they have to pay the price that the rest of the globe is paying. But also the fact that their petroleum reserves are filled, and they're going to use that as long as they can until this Iran conflict is over. But I do expect prices to go back up to that $75 to $80 price because, one, that's where they should be globally, and two, for the United States to continue to truly drill, baby, drill, we need to be at that $75, $80 price minimum.
Yeah, and the other part that we should talk about that America is producing is this remarkable amount of liquefied natural gas. I mean, we have, got plenty of natural gas. And when Donald Trump told Europe, do not get your natural gas from Russia, it's a fool's errand, boy, was he right. But now there's expansion on the horizon of a U.S. pipeline putting together a $5.5 billion deal to expand the reach of American LNG. Last word to you, it's so important.
Well, thank you. Yes, right now, keep in mind that we are truly the Saudi Arabia of liquid natural gas. And as we continue to push to export all the excess natural gas we have, we will only continue to be the global energy leader. And keep in mind that natural gas is so much cleaner even than oil, and it refines such more efficiently. Next to nuclear, natural gas is the best energy source that we have here in the world. And as we continue to provide, especially here in the Gulf states and send it around the world, our allies will be safe and secure, and the United States national security and energy security will only be that much safer and stronger.
RT Trevino, always good to talk to you, my friend. Greatly appreciate seeing you as always. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, guys, and you'll have a happy 4th of July.
You too, my friend. God bless America. There you have it. Enjoy the 4th. Boy, it's getting I don't know if you guys can hear all those thunderclaps. It's getting exciting here on the Northern Compound territory, but hey, hang in there. We will. Ivy will hang in there too. She's up next on Daybreak. Well, the storms are rolling through, that's for sure, and always makes it interesting. It's loud, and according to the radar, it's about to get louder. Let's bring Ivy in. She's going to weather the storm with me as she always does, regardless what the storm is. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Let's hope for the best here as the storms roll in.
Yeah, let's do that. What is on your mind today?
So, Steve, I want to quickly get to a couple bites I have for you. George Carlin was on Bill Maher in the 90s talking about how companies or special interest groups are buying elections. So let's hear this. I want you to comment.
They're out in the open now. They're not even trying to conceal it anymore. The owners of the country they got their election. They said, we're going to get this election. We put you people in that court for a reason.
All right,
Now's the
back
time
to
to pay
earth
us.
for you
And
now.
yeah, forget all that stupid, will you? They're out in the open. They're openly driving the bus, and we're all in the back.
There is no national conspiracy to buy elections and control America. Now talk about back to earth. Conspiracy, but
You don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge. These people went to the same universities and fraternities. They're on the same boards of directors. They're in the same country clubs. They have like interests. They don't need to call a meeting. They know what's good for them, and they're getting it. And there used to be 7 oil companies. There are now 3. It will soon be 2. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice. Right. You don't get the real important choice. There's no freedom of choice.
Boy, is he right, Ivy. Boy, is he right. And, you know, Horace Cooper has been a regular guest on this program. I think it's time to have Horace back, who's very conservative, by the way, and play that bite for him and say, hey, Horace, what do you think about your comments back then?
What do you have to say about this now?
Yeah.
You know, it just makes me think about private equity firms and everything coming under one umbrella. Is there really freedom of choice anymore? But I have another bite I want to get to here, talking about a great campaign ad about special interest groups. Play that for me, Anthony.
Hi, I'm Gil Fulbright. The people that run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm Philip a Mouth with Farts, and I approve this message.
Yeah. I've seen that before, but
I thought that was perfect, Steve, after that fight that I just played for you.
Yeah, it is perfect. You know, old Fill Up My Mouth with Farts there. That's been around for a long time, but it's still appropriate because maybe it's more appropriate today than it's ever been. All these people are bought and paid for. And George Carlin was right. It's just, and he's like, it's not like they have to have a meeting. They don't have some conspiracy. They just know what they want. They want control of the money. They want control of you. They want to have kids go to college so they'll fit right into their little machine to make them money. And if the kid doesn't work out, boom, they'll throw that one out and put another one in its place. They're all irrelevant to the power structure. And how sad is that? I mean, a lot of truth to that, isn't there?
There is, and it is an unfortunate reality that we live in. And I think that's the reason why so many people in Washington hate Donald Trump, because he wasn't part of that group. And he can't be bought. There aren't any special interests. The interest for him, the president, are the American people. And I think that's why he gets constantly attacked. I just actually saw some polling that amongst his supporters, he's at like something like 85 to 87%, which is higher than any other previous president. So um, I think that we do need to consider our people being bought and how that is affecting our country. And we do need to really consider, maybe some regulation in regards to if there are a few handful of people who are making all the decisions and raising all the money for these politicians. How do we curtail that, Steve?
I don't. Well, there was an idea put forth a number of years ago. I didn't agree with it then, but it makes me wonder now that all campaigns should be paid for by the taxpayers. And people are going to go, here's why. If you're running for United States Congress, you get $500,000 total. You can take no money from anybody. If you're running for Senate, you can get $1 million. If you're running for president, you can get $25 million, whatever the number is, and no other money allowed. So you can't have foreign countries putting money in. You can't have big corporations like fill up my mouth with farts there gets his money from or whatever, right? And so I didn't like it originally, but I kind of think maybe it has some traction because that way you could say, here's your $25 million to run for president. You can spend it however you want. And that's only if you become the nominee. Prior to that, in the primaries,
Right.
you make it $5 million or whatever. But these people that go out and literally buy seats because they're billionaires, they couldn't even put in their own money. This is the money you get. That's the end of the story. And so there's something you can consider that.
Yeah, definitely worth considering. And, doing a bunch of research on your candidates that are out there is important as well.
Got to do that.
And holding them to the
Yeah.
word, if they say they're going to do XYZ and they don't, then
They
make
never
sure
do,
that
Ivy.
you're.
They never do. Love you.
Well, I love you.
Shouldn't say never, but they don't often do it. How about that?
You want to do a teaser?
God bless America. What a country. I mean, honestly, what a country. When I started this year, Ivy and I write our goals down every year. Hey, we want to accomplish this. We want to get into some new markets. I'm going to have a big announcement for you on that coming up soon, by the way. We've got a new radio station that's going to launch Daybreak in a huge and incredibly important market. We'll tell you about that coming up. They're working out some details with the FCC, and when they do, I'll let you know. But I tell you what I did not have on my bingo card, as they say. I did not have releasing a song that would end up being number one on the Christian charts on iTunes. It wasn't part of what I was planning to do this year. And here it is. God has different plans for people. I don't know. And there it is. And here we are. But I need your help. So I'm going to ask one more time today. If you haven't downloaded One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project, please do. If you have an iPhone, just download it on iTunes. It's $1.29. You can do this. If you don't have that, you can get the app on your Android or go to Amazon and download it. Here's a preview.
From prayer to purpose to a promise that still stands. From Rav's own Steve Gruber comes One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project. A powerful new American anthem for the 4th of July. Faith, freedom, and unity in every line. A new release through Real America's Music. One Nation. Download it now. Scan the QR code or search One Nation by Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project on iTunes.
One nation under God, may we always be the home of the brave and the land of the free. For every battle, blood was lost. God bless America, sea to shining sea.
There you go. Download it today. Let's push. It's the only Christian song in the top 20 today. Let's push it higher, my friends. Thank you for being here. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is Daybreak. And remember, only you can save America.